Hey, what's up? This is Greg from Greg's Organics in Grass Valley, California. The year is 2017, and we just had the most crazy weather year, the wettest, the hottest, and then the hottest fall on record, and it's crazy. Okay, the purpose of this video is this, to teach you about how to set the cinch trap. That is the only trap that's in this kit, is the cinch trap. And you know what? I just thought I would just show you exactly, come in close, what I have in this, and let's just deconstruct this. 2 pairs of pliers for fixing irrigation leaks, because inevitably, right, rodents eat your irrigation. There's a knife to cut it. Here's copious amounts of extra. Here's some tape flagging for flagging seed plants and problem areas. You must always have these, because if someone twists their ankle in your hole that you have a trap set in, you're liable if you don't mark it. And here's the deal, man. Let's just pull this out. And I'm serious about this. The cinch trap, their patent expired, and there's knockoffs of this trap, the cinch trap. But those are the ones that won the war, man. Trust me. Here's my Hattori. I don't use this thing very much, but everyone knows what these are. It's just this kind of moisture sensor, which is worthless. 2 spoons, big spoons, folks. And if you've watched me set the traps in the other videos, you've seen those spoons in action. I think that's it. And it's kind of a garbage can too. All right. So this is what's in my kit. This is it, folks. Flat bar, you can buy at any hardware store. Hattori, I think that's how you pronounce that. I use this more than anything. This thing just sits there. And then I also have another knife in here, I think. Yeah, there it is. This is the one I prefer, just a simple box knife. Box cutter knife. That's what I cut the tape with when I repair it with a coupler. Okay, that's in my kit. Spoons, you got it. That's all you need to be successful to kill your gophers and manage them. All right, here is the trap. This is a newer one. Okay, let's like debunk a bunch of myths. You don't have to clean the traps. You can kill a gopher in that trap and then set it again and kill another one the next day, and it's that simple. But here's the deal with the trap. I've gone into great detail of how to set it in the latter videos, but setting this trap is incredibly dangerous, first, and if it's not set properly, it'll catch. And what'll happen is the way these arms work, they work on a radius, and if you don't have this set properly, they catch, and it'll make the trap not fully release, and you won't be successful. Okay, so you're gonna wanna get in close up here, Mark. Okay, so here's the deal. That nub right there it could send you to the hospital. So you always must be aware of that. So I know if you got this trap and didn't watch this video, you'd be like, how in the hell do I set this thing? Yeah, so here we go. So what you want to do is this, is again, be very cautious. That spring is incredibly powerful. This arm goes down here. Once you've got that arm down holding that, it doesn't take a lot of pressure to control that, but still it's a very strong spring. When I looked at the other traps that used this design, their springs were not as strong, is the one thing I noticed. Okay, so I've safely have it set. All right, so you can see that is what you ultimately need to put the second bar under to make it safe to maneuver it. And you can see how this trap works. So basically, I'll hold it. So the gopher's instinct is always to plug his hole because of predators. And what happens is you can see that's quite long, so you stick it as far in the hole as you can possibly get it. And then his instinct is, oh shit, I need to plug this hole. He goes through that and trips it, and you can see the plunger moves, and then this series of things happen, and he's squished. But here's the deal. There's so many little intricacies in how to do this, and I want to make sure to not shadow it, and I'm going to put my glasses on, which are incredibly dirty, but okay, so I've got it set. So here's the deal. These work on radiuses, these two bars. So this is what happens. The gopher hits the plunger, trips this flips up like this, and then this bar flips up, and then that allows the arm to go over. What you have to do is this, is you have to start with the first radius. And what you do is this, is you have to make sure that that loop is perpendicular to the plate or straight up and down. Because when it works on a radius, look, it'll flip up this way, and it uses that bend to make sure that it's smoother. So what you do is I first get this one up and perpendicular, and you can see how it has the tendency to want to roll. Hold that. Next, flip the other one up and perpendicular, and you want to make sure that this first bar is pushed up all the way against this tab right there. Because see that tab, if it's pushed forward like this, this will flip up easier. And the whole sequence of the trap being tripped, it goes much smoother and faster. So this is what you do. You've got the first trip bar up and perpendicular to the plate, which is straight up and down. Then you make sure that's forward. You can see that wants to rotate. And then make sure this is, see how it wants to rotate? But here's the deal, is look. God, that is odd. There we go. Okay, so there you go. Come in close. So you can see that that is straight up and down. This is pushed all the way over against the flange. And the second trip bar, the first, and I guess depending on how you look at it, this trip bar here is perpendicular and up against the tab. See the tab right here? This bar has to be all the way against the tab. All these things may seem really, really trivial, but they will limit your success greatly. Because when you really work with these traps enough, you'll realize like, oh, if that's too far back, then this won't flip up fast and it'll slow that one from flipping. So, and if this tab is bent over, it'll catch. So if you set the trap perfect, and you've got the trap far enough in the hole, you usually will be successful. I mean, it takes some experience, and it is a true challenge, but believe me, it's a skill that is completely doable. Okay, so this is the next step in setting the trap. So you safely get the bar over, get both bars set, get the tabs perpendicular to the plate, pushed forward, pushed forward. Okay, now this is where it gets tricky. Okay, you can see I put my thumb right on top of the bar, and this trip bar is right up against the tab. So what I do is this, is my thumb, and this is exactly, I set this in the hole when I do this as well. So I put my thumb on it, put it in the hole, and then micro adjust this while the trap is set. It's the only way to do it. You can see, look at this. My tab over here turned sideways. So what we do is we go back, we make sure we're not gonna gouge ourselves with that thing. And that is dangerous. I have hurt myself several times with these things. Be careful. Okay, so now look, you always go back to the basics. Are the tabs up? Is this pushed forward? Is this up? Is this against that tab? You can see that just rotated. You see what I'm talking about? It's that important. I brought it back up. See that? Because when that's sideways, it won't allow that to flip straight up. And that's why it goes boom, boom, and then it releases it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna micro set the trap. And honestly, I don't need to see this, I feel it. And if you set it too tight, ooh, look at that radius is turning a little bit. Oh, see that? Okay, I mean, you really got to get all these steps right. Because if you don't, what is up with that? The trap will catch and you'll have limited success. Okay, you can see I just went past it. Now I'm on it. Past it. Oh man, that's a hair trigger. Okay. That's how you properly set a trap. And you know what? That takes a lot of practice. But it's just the basics. And you know what? You're going on the instinct of the gopher. And that's one thing you can count on. That's what makes this trap so successful, is you just need to find their clean out hole where they're digging out, and properly setting this in the hole, properly setting the trap. You will get them almost every time. But the thing is this, it goes back to learning how to do this properly. So it does take practice, and I'm just going to review one more time, and then I'll pop it and I'll show you the power of this thing. It's pretty scary. Okay, so just remember that this radius arm needs to be perpendicular to the plate. This needs to be pushed forward against that plate. And then this needs to be perpendicular and then pushed up against that tab right there. And then set on a hair trigger. And you know what? When you first try to set it on a hair trigger, it's going to pop a bunch of times. But if you set your thumb back here and keep everything away, you won't get hurt by the trap. But you just got to keep everything out of this zone, because when that arm comes over, it really packs a punch. So, if you can't get this the first time, watch the video again. This is important. You could do everything else right, and if you're not setting the trap right, you will not be successful. So that is how you do it. And on a closing note, this is what happens. Happy trapping.